August. Monumental day today. It's a monumental day because it is our 100th episode. 100 episodes. That is amazing. I never thought when we started this that we'd reach this milestone of 100 episodes, but we have. We've done it. But sad news as well. This will be also our last Bullock's Business Banter in this format. We're continuing with the review show, but the news and the banter show is going to end, unfortunately, after 100 episodes. But it's all right. It's fine. I can cope with it. I've been here for 4 months, virtually every day at midday, supporting you. But obviously things have changed. Everybody's getting back to work, and there's not many people watching the live show anymore. The podcast is still doing very well. We still get on average of 1,000 followers and listeners on that, on each episode, so that's brilliant. But time must be used wisely, and other things are to be done. But as I say, the Wednesday show with the review movies and TV news with Pete Chef will still be here. It will still be here. But things are move on. But let's do the headlines, and then I just want to do a quick recap of what we've done over the past 4 months, because I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. So let's get the headlines done first, shall we? So, France to be added to the UK quarantine countries. Many of the 160,000 Britons in France face a scramble to return before 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. Magaluf party strip falls silent. Mallorca's famous party destination. I've worked there. Magaluf has been left deserted because of the coronavirus. Well, at least they can clean everything up, and lockdown to ease further in England on Saturday. So that's where I'm actually going to do talk a few points on that. As I say, I am by myself here, but it's fine. It's all good. But let's just talk about what's happening on the world of coronavirus, because obviously when we came out of lockdown, we should have eased the news stories about that when we were talking, but obviously it's always there, and I think it was going to be there for the rest of the year, really. But anyway, the changes in lockdown are indoor theatre, music and performance venues will be able to reopen with socially distanced audiences. Big gap. I mean, I've booked in for the theatre, for the cinema in a couple of weeks to see Tenant, and we booked all the seats, but all the way round us we have to have a gap. And for 5 people, £77 to book for 5 people at the cinema. But the price is going to go up because they're using half the capacity of the actual cinema, so it's that's going to happen. Wedding receptions in the form of a sit-down meal for up to 30 guests will be now permitted. The piloting of small number of sporting events to test the safe return of spectators will resume, commencing with the final of the World Snooker Championships at Sheffield's Crucible Theatre over the weekend. Casinos, bowling alleys, skating rinks, and soft play centres will also be allowed to open from this weekend. Close contact beauty services such as facials, eyebrow threading, eyelash treatments, makeup application, and microblading will also be able to resume. And pilots will take place at conference venues ahead of the expected resumption of business events from the 1st of October at the earliest, they've said. So that's the easing of all of the new rules this weekend. Lockdown restrictions were last week introduced in Preston and kept in place in 18 other areas with the outbreaks. Now, if you are in France, and we do get viewers and listeners across the world, and are you stuck in France at the moment and you scrambling back to get back to the UK before 4 a.m. Tomorrow? Well, France and the Netherlands are amongst the countries now on the UK's quarantine list. Monaco, Malta, and the Caribbean nations Aruba and Turks and Caicos have also been added. The 14-day isolation requirements begins at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, the 15th of August. People travelling to France from the UK will be expected to quarantine for 14 days upon arrival here, and the French embassy has confirmed. Returning holiday makers from Spain and Belgium were already subject to the quarantine rules. So, are you stuck out there? How does this affect people going on holiday? I've got a holiday booked October, and I'm going to Iceland, who at the moment have got hardly any cases. We've had to pay £50 each to get tested on entrance. We're only there for 4 days, so we can't quarantine when we go in there, so that they're fine with that. But if suddenly the government say you've got to self-quarantine to come back, so that I'm not going to go then. But does that mean the insurance kicks in? Because they're actually saying it doesn't. You've got to take the hit. So you're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, unless a government announced that they recommend no travel to that country, which means you can then claim on your insurance. So sit tight, everybody. Don't book anything. I mean, I booked this before lockdown, so I'm sort of stuck there. And EasyJet, who we're flying out with, are still saying it's all fine and it's all good. So that's really the headlines for today. As I said at the top of the show, this will be the last business banter show in this format. We've had a great one. We've had 4 months, and we have produced 100. I'm going to put the sign up again. 100 episode. This is our 100th episode. So, because everything's changed so much, people is finding it difficult to get on because they're working. So we thought, let's call it a day, and we'll concentrate on everything else we're doing. The review show, the film and TV show, which still gets a high number of live viewers, as well as the podcast viewers, will be continuing. That's the Did You See podcast, which will go out live on a Wednesday, and then across all the podcast networks. That's myself and Pete Trev, and also guests. So that will be continuing on a Wednesday when we come back from the summer recess. But the actual show itself, with all our collaborators over the past 4 months, will be coming to an end. We at some points, our live views across all the networks were 600 to 800 live views in total lockdown. Obviously, that dropped right down when everybody went back to work, which is fine. It's a 12 o'clock show. We fully understand that. Our podcast viewers, listeners, has kept strong with over 1,000 listens to each of the podcasts every time we post one up. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm sorry that we won't be here to entertain you in this format, but we know we'll still be here for other things. Don't panic about that. I've just knocked my camera. But obviously, I've stored a lot of the photographs that we've had a lot of fun with over the lockdown, and the things we've took the mickey out of. And I thought what I would do is we'll just run through the photographs, and then we're going to call it a day. Now, right at the start of lockdown, we had this is nothing to do with the show. This is actually me and my wife on the left hand side. That was me as not Hagrid, that's actually Thor, with our other friends as well, the Hickmans, on the other side. And we had a Zoom dinner party, and we had to dress up as superheroes. I think we made a very good effort there. I think we did very well. But that was one of my pictures. And Mark Linton from the Business Growth Show was also a main guest on the show in the early days. If you were with us from the start, he had a terrible internet connection. But you know what? Another thing I'm proud of is that me and Grant actually improved his internet connection, got him a better Wi-Fi box, lots of bit of tech to help him. But doing strange things on camera, which obviously getting dressed up and putting his face to the sun. That was really early on. That must have been like March and April time that we were doing that. And then obviously Grant, who took a visit into London on the train when he was buying a car, which he did during lockdown. And that was him on the subway. And there was nobody else there. Absolutely nobody else on the train, which is extraordinary. Also, there was Mark's fascination with Greggs, and when he was shut down, he kept trying to get into Greggs, and so he took a picture of himself. So we did we did take the mickey out of him there, but he did get to a Greggs in the end, and he also did start doing the 5K couch to 5K run. Now I do have a picture of him on one of his runs here. So there he is. On one of his couch to 5K runs, and I applaud him on that because I did start doing it and buggered my knees up, so I only could do 2 weeks of it, but I'm now cycling and walking as well, so it's fine. So even though he did do Greggs, he did step up and and do the Couch to 5K, which is great. Redid the office for the broadcast. I bought a new desk. It went up and down, so that was my picture there for that. We're not sure what Grant's doing there. We always said he was having a wee, but I don't think he was. I think he just had his camera at a very low angle. Then there's obviously the various haircuts of Mark Linton, which was extraordinary. And then there was Mazzy's thumbs. Remember that? Mazzy's thumbs, extraordinary large thumbs. And I always thought there was somebody behind her, possibly her husband, putting his arms around her and then holding up the thumbs because it was very large hands. Anyway, Maz, we love you. You were great with your 10-minute bit at the start. Always amusing and kept, well, not amusing, but kept the kept us on track to talk about business and news. That was me going to the tip when we had to do live from my car because I was stuck in a 3-hour queue to go to the local tip. So I actually broadcast from the car. That was one of my Friday night's house party pictures, which we did from the garden. We did that every Friday during lockdown. That was great fun. Then we asked for some old pictures. Oh dear, we shouldn't have done that. There was Mark with his very floppy hair. Maz got the wrong idea and just sent a picture of her as a baby, which is fine. Then there's a very happy one of me when I was possibly in Magaluf, or it could have been Greece, actually, that was. And then there was one of Grant's, which let me just find here, because he did send it in, and we thought, oh, you're a brave man. Where is it? Here it is. And that was one of Grant in his younger days as well. So that was some nice pictures there. We're back to Mazzy's thumbs. That was always a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Another one of Mark on his runs, which was good. And then Maz went out for a date at a dinner party, and she got dressed up and wanted to show a picture. I built a bar. And that's the bar I built, made out of pallets, which is still working and all good. And one of my very few experiences of going out during lockdown was going to B&Q. Now, these pictures I think they're going to be interesting in the future, aren't they? Because this is, we had to queue to go into B&Q. And that joke, which was great, somebody rings them up and says, how big is the queue outside? And the guy would say it's about the same size as the B. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Grant and Andy Moore, they went out on cycling along the towpath while we were all still in lockdown and sneaked a crafty beer at the boot. So that was an interesting day for them. It was perfectly legal. They were allowed to sell beer to anybody on the towpath and weren't on the premises. Myself and my wife also went out, but we just had a sausage roll. We weren't drinking. We're good like that. The house party evolved into something bigger than ever, with 800, 900 listeners on a Friday night. That was extraordinary. And then Grant stood by the bins having a beer. There's a lot of pictures of Grant having a beer, wasn't there? That's strange. And then when lockdown eased, obviously it all went mad in Soho. Do you remember that? Wasn't a spike though, was there? We all said there's going to be a spike, but there wasn't, which is strange. And then the house party came to an end as the pubs reopened. So we had a stalker called Birmingham Bob, and this is me and Birmingham Bob, who came out of our house. Yes, he did, and said hello. That was weird. I knew who it was though. Don't worry. And then as the lockdown really came out and the restaurant started open, Grant went out for a meal with his family at a local Indian. And then even Maz ventured out to have her hair done, which she wore a mask and a plastic bag, it looks like. Then Darren started joining us from down south. He was there. He's the Mr. Segway man. And we pulled up some pictures. That's down in the bottom right. And that's another one which is on his side, doing a very good, I think it's called a helicopter. I don't know what it means. So it's been an interesting 4 months, and it's been great fun, to be honest. It's obviously as we came out of the lockdown, things got quieter on the live events, on the live transmission, but it was fine. We kept going, and we will be back after the summer recess in some form to keep the podcast going. Obviously, the movie and TV Did You See show, which happens on a Wednesday, that will continue. When we come back, and the podcast will continue with that because I have to keep saying the podcast gets over 1,000 listens. It's fine. So that is it. Thank you for joining us for 4 months. I do hope we don't go back into lockdown, so we have to start again. But it has been great, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And I must say thank you to my wife Tina, who's put up with me chattering on Monday to Friday at midday to myself in a room just like this. So please stay safe. Keep washing your hands. Wear your masks. Do as the government tells you, because even though Ben said that there's a conspiracy, there's not a conspiracy, it's a virus. So that is it. That is it for the Bullock's Business Banter and the business support group, small business support group, as it started in that form. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has helped us. So stay safe, have a great rest of summer, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.